Okay, so we will chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 4 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, welcome. Last day, 18th chapter. So what has happened so far, the story so far, is all the different qualities he has been explaining. He first elaborated the sattva, rajas, tamas, then he elaborated the um, whole big picture, the Purushottam Yoga summary sort of about the upside down tree and how do you get out of it by dropping the identification through meditation and all those things. And then he went a little bit more into what are the qualities which are helpful for this and which are not helpful for this. The arrogance, the three gates to hell. So then he came to the 17th chapter where the different he's then again coming back to explaining how the different types of seekers engage in the path in different ways, the yagyas, the different types of uh, uh, you know the different ways people conduct themselves also has the sattva, rajas and tamas. So, and ultimately it all comes down to that which is beyond the gunas, beyond all these qualities. So now finally Arjun is like, okay, what how do I attain that? How do I attain that which is beyond these gunas, beyond all these qualities, that which is pure? That is called sannyas. Sannyas means by which you become centered. Sannyas. So how can I attain sannyas? So Arjun says, O mighty arm Sri Krishna, O mighty arm Sri Krishna, O inner controller of all, O slayer of Keshi, I wish to know severally the truth of sannyasa as well as of tyaga. Tyaga means letting go, dropping, also sacrifice. People translate it sometimes or interpret it as sacrifice, but tyag means to drop it. And sannyas means like monks are called sannyasis. So the centered ones, one who have come established in the center. So Bhagavan says, okay, some sages understand sannyas as giving up of all actions motivated by desire. The wise declare that the tyag consists in relinquishing the fruit of all actions. It is not dropping the actions, but just the fruit, doing the work but dropping the fruit. Some wise ones declare that all actions contain a measure of evil is too strong a word here. Dosha means like a flaw. All actions have some measure of flaw and therefore worth giving up. While others say that the acts of yagya, the dana, the giving, the charity, and the tapas, these are the actions, this should not be given up. So, of the sannyas and tyag, first hear my conclusion or my decision, my conclusion is fine on the subject of renunciation. For renunciation, O tiger among men, has been declared to be of three kinds. Again, that classification continues: sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. So, yagya, dana, and karma. The yagya, acts of yagya, charity, and penance are not worth giving up. They must be performed. For yagya, the charity and the penance, all these are purifiers to the wise ones. Hence, these acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance, and all other acts of duty too, must be performed dropping the identification with them, dropping the attachment to them, and expectation of reward. This is my well considered and supreme verdict, Arjun. Um, Prohibited acts and those that are motivated by desire should no doubt be given up, but it is not advisable to abandon a prescribed duty. Such abandonment through ignorance has been declared as tamasic, like running away, that type of a thing. Should anyone give up their duty for the fear of physical strain, thinking that all actions are anyway painful, practicing such rajasic form of renunciation, they do not reap the fruit of renunciation. Just to give it up because it's inconvenient. So I will become a monk because it's not convenient to be in the world. Then that is a rajasic. A prescribed duty which is performed simply because it needs to be performed, giving up the attachment and fruit, that alone has been recognized as the sattvic form of renunciation. Sattvic form of renunciation. One who has neither aversion for action which is leading to bondage, nor attachment to that which is conducive to blessedness, imbued with the quality of goodness. One who has all their doubt resolved, is intelligent, and such a person is the person of true renunciation. Since all actions cannot be given up in their entirety by anyone possessing a body, only the one who renounces the fruit of actions is called a person of renunciation. Agreeable, disagreeable, and mixed, threefold indeed is the fruit that accrues from the actions of the unrenouncing. But there is none whatsoever for those who have renounced. In the branch of learning known as Sankhya, which prescribes the means for neutralizing all actions, 5 factors have been mentioned as contributory to the accomplishment of all actions. Know them all from me, Arjun. The following are the factors operating towards the accomplishment of actions, which is the body and the doer, the organs of different kinds, and the different functions of manifold kinds. And the 5th is Daiva or Prarabdha Karma, which is grace. They say destiny here, but better word might be grace. Daiva. These 5 are the contributory causes of whatever actions, right or wrong, a person performs with the mind, speech, and body. Notwithstanding this, however, the one who, having an impure mind, regards the absolute taintless self alone as the doer, that person of perverse understanding does not view all right. If you think of the self as the doer, that does not view it correctly. One whose mind is free from the sense of doership and whose reason is not affected by the worldly objects and activities does not really kill, even having killed all these people. Now he is talking in context of Arjun, not in normal context. Does not really kill, even having killed all these people, nor does any sin accrue to him. The knower, the knowledge, and the object of knowledge, these 3 motivate action. Even so, the doer, the organs, and activity, these are the 3 constituents of action. In the branch of knowledge dealing with the gunas or the modes of Prakriti, knowledge and action as well as the doer have been again declared to be of 3 kinds, according to the guna, according to the quality which predominates in each. Hear them too duly from me. That by which person perceives one imperishable divine existence as undivided and equally present in all individual beings. Know that knowledge to be sattvic. The knowledge by which person recognizes many existences of various kinds as apart from one another in all beings. Know that knowledge to be rajasic. Seeing the differences in different levels, uh, giving too much importance to angels or negative and all those, all spectrum of differentiations. That is the rajasic knowledge. The knowledge which clings to one body as if it were the whole and which is irrational, has no real grasp of truth, and is trivial, has been declared as tamasic. Trivial may not be the right word. Alpa means it's small-minded knowledge. Small-minded. That action which is ordained by the scriptures and is not accompanied by the sense of identification or doership with it, and has been done without any attachment or aversion by one who seeks no return, is called sattvic. That action which involves much strain and is performed by one who seeks enjoyments or by a person full of egotism has been spoken of as rajasic. That action which is undertaken through sheer ignorance, without regard to consequences or loss to oneself, injury to others, and one's own resourcefulness, that action is declared as tamasic. This is one verse which also Gurudev likes to quote sometimes. Mukta sango anaham vadi dhruti utsa samanvita siddhya siddhyo nirvikaraha karta sattvic uchyate. What is a sattvic doer? It's a mukta sango, free from identification. Anaham vadi, not me, I, unegoistic, endowed with a firm enthusiasm. Their enthusiasm is not swayed by outcomes, and it is unswayed by success or failure, undistorted by success or failure. Such a doer is said to be a sattvic doer. Then the doer who is full of attachment seeks the fruit of actions and is greedy, and who is oppressive by nature and of impure conduct, and is affected by joy and sorrow, goes up and down with joy and sorrow. That it has been called rajasic doer. Lacking the piety and self-control, uncultured, arrogant, deceitful, inclined to rob others of their livelihood, slothful, despondent, and procrastinating. Such a doer is called tamasic. Now here Arjun, the threefold division based on the predominance of each guna of the buddhi and the dhriti, which I shall explain in detail one by one. Say, pravrutti, the intellect which correctly determines the paths of activity and renunciation. Where do you need to engage and where you need to disengage, where you need to drop it. What ought to be done, what should not be done, what is and also what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is fearlessness, and what is bondage and what is liberation. That intellect which is able to discern this clearly is sattvic intellect. The intellect by which a person does not truly perceive what is dharma and what is adharma, what is the nature and what is not natural, what ought to be done and what should not be done. That intellect is rajasic. Confusion, basically. Intellect which imagines even adharma, that which is not righteous, to be dharma, and justifies a wrong action to be as if it were right, and sees all other things upside down, wrapped in ignorance. That intellect is called tamasic, Arjun. The unwavering firmness by which a person dhruti means that which upholds. So that which upholds the functions of the mind, the prana, and the senses, that dhriti is sattvic. Firmness is not the best translation of the word. Dhriti is that which upholds. The dhriti, however, by which the person seeking reward of their action clutches with extreme fondness their virtues, earthly possessions, and worldly enjoyments. That dhriti is said to be rajasic. The dhriti by which an evil minded person does not give up uh, sleep, they say sleep, but actually it's like a dream. So their delusion does not give up their delusion or imagination, does not give their fear, anxiety, sorrow, and vanity or uh, arrogance. That dhriti is tamasic dhriti. Now, hear from me the three types of joy also, that in which the striver finds enjoyment through practice of adoration, meditation, and service, and by whereby one reaches the end of sorrow. Such a joy, though appearing as poison in the beginning, tastes like a nectar in the end. Yeah, tastes like a nectar in the end. Hence, that joy, born as it is out of the calmness of the mind brought about by meditation, has been declared as sattvic joy. Sattvic joy, short term pain, long term uh, happiness, that type of joy. Initially, it's difficult, but later it makes life easy. The delight which follows from the contact of the senses with their objects is eventually poison like, although appearing first as nectar. Hence it has been spoken of as rajasic. That which stupefies the self during its enjoyment as well as in the end, derived from sleep, indolence, and obstinate error. Such delight has been called tamasic, and we know which type that is. There is no being on earth or even among those in heaven, the gods in heaven or anywhere else, who is free from these gunas born of Prakriti. The duties of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, as well as Shudras have been assigned according to their innate qualities, Arjun. Uh, Shama means a say over the mind and the senses, uh, enduring hardship. So these are the qualities also of the also seeker, with some of the qualities which you might have uh, encountered in the silence course, and enduring the hardship for the discharge of one's sacred duties, external and internal purity, forgiveness, straightness, sincerity of the mind, senses, and behavior, a faith, firm faith, a firm faith in the knowledge, wisdom, and intuitive knowledge, and also in meditation and all those traditional wisdom. All these constitute the natural duties of someone who is inclined as a Brahman, one who is interested in the Brahma. Heroism, majesty, firmness, diligence, and dauntlessness in battle, bestowing gifts and lordliness, generosity. Basically, bestowing gift means generosity. And all these constitute the natural duty of a duty. That's not duty actually. Duty is a wrong word here. These are the actions. These are the actions and the impressions. These are the karmas of a Kshatriya. Karma is not same as duty. Karma can also mean impression. So, agriculture, rearing of cows, and honest exchange of merchandise, these constitute the natural karma of a Vaishya. And the service of other classes is the natural karma. Karma, a person attains the highest perfection in the shape of keenly devoted to their natural duty. Person attains the highest perfection in the shape of a realization. Here, the mode of performance by which the person engaged in their karma reaches that highest consummation. By, by worshipping that from whom all beings come into being and by whom the whole universe is pervaded through the performance of own natural duties, person attains the highest perfection. It is better to engage in one's own dharma, one's own nature, whatever is natural, even though if it is devoid of merit, then the duty of another well performed. For performing the duty which is natural, a person does not incur sin. Sin or imperfection. Kilbisha means also imperfection. It does not uh, distortion, does not cause distortion. Therefore, Arjun, this is the verse. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api na tyajit sarvarambha hi doshina dhume nagni revavruta. This is also Gurudev made us memorize once upon a time. So therefore, Arjun, one should not relinquish one's innate duty, even though it has a measure of flaw. Well, one should not relinquish the karma, one's karma, which is spontaneous, the natural karma, sahaj. Sahaj means the simple natural karma, even though it may be flawed, for all undertakings are beset by some flaw, just as fire is covered by smoke. One whose intellect is unattached everywhere, one whose thirst for enjoyment has altogether disappeared, and one who has subdued their mind reaches through Sankhya Yoga the consummation of sannyas. Arjun, know from me only briefly the process through which a person having attained sannyas, which is the highest consummation of the yoga of knowledge, reaches Brahman. Endowed with pure intellect and partaking of a light, sattvic, and regulated diet, living in a lonely and undefiled place, having rejected sound and other objects of senses. Okay, so Vivikta Sevi, they have interpreted as living in a lonely place. Vivikta also means the space, the emptiness. So there is the body, there is empty space in the body. Being interested or having a keen uh, interest in observing the emptiness in the body, that is also that it can be interpreted like that. Or you can also say living in an empty space where there's nobody, other else, no other people. That is their interpretation. Uh, Taking a resolute stand on dispassion, restraining the senses through the firmness of a sattvic type, and also having control the mind, speech, and body. Uh, After having completely gotten rid of attraction and aversion, okay, so not having a sense of me, my, mine, and not being bound by the sense of craving and aversion, and being given up the violence, arrogance, lust, anger, and luxuries, devoid of the feeling of me and tranquil, and who is tranquil of heart. Such a person becomes qualified for the oneness with the Brahman, which is truth, consciousness, and bliss. Establishing in identity with Brahman and cheerful in the mind, the Sankhya Yogi no longer grieves nor craves for anything. The same to all beings, such a yogi attains supreme devotion to me. Through that supreme devotion, they come to me, they come to know me in reality, what and who I am, and thereby knowing me truly, forthwith merges into my being. The Karma Yogi, however, who depends on me, attains by my grace the eternal imperishable state, even though performing all actions. Mentally dedicating all your actions to me and taking recourse to yoga in the form of even mindedness, be solely devoted to me and constantly fix your mind on me. With your mind, with your chitta thus devoted to me, you shall by my grace overcome all difficulties. But if from self conceit, if you do not care to listen to me, you will be lost. If taking your stand on egotism, you think, I will not fight, now it comes to business. If you think with your arrogance and egotism that I will not fight, then this resolve of it, yours is vain. Nature